Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dayakaram Dayakaram Dantam Dharma Pravartakam Pranamami Dayanantam Madacharya Param. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Vedo Nityamadhiyatam Taduditam Karma Swanushthiyatam Tene Shastya Vidhiyatam Avachitikam Yematisyachatam Papogaparidhuyatam Bhavasuke Doshonusandhiyatam Atmecha Vyavasiyata Nijagrihat Turnam Vinirgamyata Sangastat Suvidhiyata Bhagavato Bhaktidridadiyata Shantyatif Parichiyata Dridataram Karmashu Satyajyata Sarvidvanupasripyatam pratidinam tatpadukam sevyatam brahmekaksharamadhyatam shrutishiro vakyam samakaryatam vakyarthascha vicharyatam shrutishira kakshastamaśriyatam Dustarkatsu viramyatam Shrudimatas tarkonu sandhiyatam Brahmevasmi vibhavyatam Aharahat garva parityajyatam Deheham matiruchyatam Buddhajaner padam parityajyatam Kshudyadishcha chikitsyataam pratidinam vikshaushadham bhujyatam swadvannam natu yachyatam vidivashat praptena santushyatam shitoshna vivishakyatam natu drita vakyam samucharyatam Audasinyamadipsyatam janakripa naishthuryamutsrijyatam ekante sukhamasyatam paratare chetas samadhiyatam purnatma susamikshyatam jagadidam tarvaditam drisyatam Prakarma pravilapyatam Chitibalam navyuttarai slishyatam Prarabdham viha bhujyatam Atavarat brahmatmanasmiyatam Prarabdham viha bhujyatam Atavarat brahmatmanasmiyatam Hari Om. So welcome to our final session, Sadhana Panchakam. We may go on a little longer. So we were seeing the fifth and final verse of this Sadhana Panchakam. Ekante sukham asyatam. So here, may you sit in a posture that is comfortable. This is while you're in solitude. So ekante actually means in solitude. So now these are the nididhyasanam verses, the nididhyasanam steps. Here, Adi Shankaracharya is advising, after having lived that lifestyle that has come in the previous verses, many years. We've only seen in 4 verses, we can cover that chanting in 5 minutes. That 5 minutes of chanting you require years of practice. So we've come to this final stage in our sadhana. And what is that? Ekante sukhamasyatam. Now you be by yourself, ekante, because you cannot do moksha, you cannot achieve moksha, gain moksha, discover moksha in groups. So there are some places where they think, if I get free, my satsanga that I'm with, they will also get freedom. So here in Advaita Vedanta, it is only you can do it for yourself. You can't do it proxy, we know that. So Vivikta Desha here, here Adi Shankaracharya is referring to also the value of Vivikta Desha Sevitvam Arati Jana Samsati. Keeping yourself away from people for a length of time. You need to have that inner space to be able to do any contemplation. If I'm in roles all the time, where is the contemplation for me? I cannot do it. So it is a way of coming back to oneself. And we saw if we're in a city life, if we're working, we can find Vivikta Kala. So a time when people are asleep, time when everything is quiet. Shastra also recommends that time, Brahma Muhurtam, those hours, usually people are asleep. So you have time to yourself. And Vedanta requires a lot of alert living, requires you looking into yourself. So looking into yourself means that loneliness can be the first step one has to cross. Because once you're with yourself, usually we're used to being with others, even if it's satsanga. Suddenly you're put with yourself. At this stage, it is considered that you're ready to be with yourself as well. So you have chosen to be with yourself. But despite having chosen to be with yourself, sometimes it can get very painful when you're sitting long lengths with yourself. So here he says that, as we saw yesterday, go with it, go into the loneliness, experience it, and be strong and come out of the other end. Don't break it in between and start looking for company again, because again, you're going back into the cycle. One time we have to break that cycle of looking outward for our solutions. So ekante means I am not trapped by the internet, I'm trapped by the internet. I am with my inner net and self-study. I can spend the hours in self-study, in yoga, and also clearing a lot of things that subconscious, unconscious may throw up. Understanding myself is a nice way of seeing this. So don't look for source of support anywhere. At this stage, who is our only support? We're clear. It is Bhagavan. In the previous stage, I was developing my relationship to Ishvara. Now I have fully established that Shraddha, Ishvara, Anyatha Sharanam Nasti. We chant there. Ishvara, it is very clear for me that Ishvara is the one truth, changeless truth. People are always changing, coming and going. So we saw in the previous verse as well. 1 minute they will praise you, 1 minute they will criticize you. Whole Jagat is like that. Forget other people. I am also like that, right? We can't just put it one minute I put somebody up, next minute I criticize. So whole Jagat is built that way. So here I understand that Bhagavan alone is the changeless truth. Find somewhere in a very peaceful, like this natural environment is very conducive. Nature is very conducive for mental absorption. Sitting by the ocean or sitting in the forest with the trees, all of this is very, very conducive. It helps. So this value, ekante sukham asyatam, Adi Shankaracharya is saying, find the value to be with yourself. discover the value of being by yourself, with yourself, and eventually happy to be with yourself. So first of all, there may not be happiness, but eventually that happiness is discovered. Then he says, Paratare chetas samadhiyatam. So may the mind be brought to that Param, to that Brahman, which is limitless. That mind has to be brought through how? Through contemplation. This contemplation is in keeping with the truth, with words of Shastra. So now what happens? Now slowly my mind shifts from all the Nama Rupas. See, all my life I've been living with the names, forms, functions. Now I slowly shift my thinking from the Nama Rupas to Satchitananda Brahman. Satyam Dhyanam Anantam Brahma. Satchitananda Atma. It is shifting from Mithya to Satyam. So here it is because of all the Shravanam and Mananam that has been done over the course of years, the mind has a growing clarity. And I contemplate on this clarity that I have achieved, and more I dwell on it. I recognize that there is one timeless, there is one space-wise, time-wise, object-wise, limitless self. It is not limited by space or time or other objects. And my vision now shifts to that one truth. Ekam Brahma. And that one truth, Shastra reveals as the truth of myself as well. There is also in Taittiriya Upanishad, Brahmavid apnoti param. So the knower of Brahman is the one who reaches apnoti param, the highest truth. So here, my vision, it is all about a vision shift. And how do I do that? So there's a time I sit with myself. I sit with myself quietly. Take the words that the lakshanas that Shastra has used to reveal Brahman. They're defining words. They're not adjectives. The Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma is not adjective to Brahma. Why? What do adjectives do? Adjectives differentiate something from its own species, something from its own species, one type of species from its own species. I'll explain that. So if you say lily, okay, lily is a flower. So if I use an adjective, blue lily, white lily, pink lily, what does that do? Within the species, the adjectives differentiate the different types, colors of lilies. I can do that with humans, human species, tall man, short man, fat woman, thin woman. It all differentiates within a certain species. Now, if Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma are adjectives to Brahman, what does that make? Lot of Brahmans, and this Brahman is being differentiated from other Brahmans. So Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma are not adjectives to Brahman, not adjectives to consciousness. They are lakshanani, they're lakshartha, revealing words. They are vastu defining words. They reveal the vastu to you. So here I spend my time in this type of inquiry, and I start giving up the reality I have been giving to names and forms and functions throughout my life. It's very difficult to do that because orientation is what? This is real. Everything I see, smell, hear, touch, taste is reality for me. And after this Shravanam, getting to this stage of sadhana, what happens? I start removing the reality from here, not destroying the object to see the reality. We can't destroy the trees and everything. No, this is all mithya. I want to see satyam. You break down all the trees, break down all objects. No, how do I break down? Cognitively break down. So there's a very beautiful verse in Drishya Viveka, which is Asti Bhati Priyam. This Asti Bhati talks about Asti Bhati Priyam. This, all the objects here, the Nama Rupa is only the two aspects that belong to the world, the name and form. But everything here contains this Asti Bhati Priyam, which means Asti, it is existing, it exists. Asti, bhati, it shines. And priyam, it is dear. It has love. Everything contains that ananda, that love. So here, this is how the vision shifts from nama rupa to the three aspects of whole of creation, which are the only truth. So it is like, take this example. I touch, see, I have this cloth and there's this desk. So I touch the desk, but what am I touching? I'm touching the wood actually. So if I remove this cloth, I touch wood. I'm able to transcend. I'm able to transcend the table. I'm able to transcend the cloth, and cognitively, I know what it is wood I'm actually touching. I'm not even touching the name and form table. Table, cloth, table, all names and forms only. But in my vision, when I recognize I am touching wood, what has happened is a whole shift in perspective. And that is how I start meditating. I start doing Nididhyasana here. This whole Jagat is like that. Any object you touch, it is only consciousness that is there. Any object you take, it is only Asti, Bhati, Priyam. So in the recognition of this wood here, all the objects, the names and forms are transcended. In the recognition of Satyam, which is the one truth pervading the whole universe, all names and all forms are transcended. So now that Satyam is clear for me, and now I bring it to the self. He says the next step, Purnatma Susam Ikshyatam. May the truth of the self be seen as Paramatma. May the truth of the self be seen as Parabrahma. I recognize the world pervaded by Parabrahma. My vision shifts slowly. Now the vision shifts in myself as well. So in this stage, it is removing all the wrong notions of what I am not. So it's called Viparita Bhavana. Nididhyasanam is to remove this Viparita Bhavana. That is re-identification with what I'm not. Because of so many lifetimes, I have been identified with this body, mind, and with a body, mind, and senses, right? Not this particular one. I could have come in any body, mind, senses. For many, many lifetimes, I've been identifying with the name and form. And now the journey is to recognize that Purnatma Susamikshatam. I recognize the truth of my very self as that limitless Brahman. So I am also, when we say Brahman is limitless, I am not this much alone. I am also not limited by time. I am not limited by place. I am not limited by objects. Like today's meditation, you recognize I pervade everything in and through. I am not limited by the confines of this body. So this correction in the terms of wrong orientation. It is an orientation. So far, it has been the only orientation we have known. And after Nididhyasanam, after Shravanam Mananam, now Nididhyasanam, we know that I am not the physical body. I am much more than the physical body. So I contemplate on the truth of myself, which is what Shastra reveals as Purnam. He says here, Purnam. Purnam we saw in the mantra, Purnamadav Purnamidam, it is fullness, completeness, and Satchit Ananda. So these are all defining words for the limitlessness. This Purnatma that Shastra reveals I am is my very self. How can I claim it up though? How do I claim this as myself? I keep seeing I don't lack anything. Purnam means what? Completeness. I am complete with things, without things, I'm still complete. We saw in the mantra, take something away from me, I'm still complete. Add something to me, I'm still complete. So I see myself as a being, an entity which does not have a sense of lack, which does not, and lack always means that there will be sorrow. Whenever I feel a lack, there will be a sense of sorrow, and that is what we don't like. We reject sorrow because it is not my nature. My nature is happiness, which is limitlessness. So minus a thing, I'm complete, plus a thing, I'm still complete. I don't need to manipulate anyone or the world for my completeness. Right now, we are manipulating everything for feeling complete and satisfied. In this Nididhyasanam, I see that I'm already what I seek to be. I'm that Purnatma. I don't need to manipulate the world any longer. I don't need to change people. I don't need to change situations because I've discovered myself, or I am in the process of discovering I am pure, limitless joy, limitless ananda. And there are some other words also that Shastra gives, like Sakshi. We've seen that witness. So that when I discover the basic person, meditation is discovering the basic person, which is what? The one which is undisturbed by the body, undisturbed by the conditions of the body, undisturbed by the conditions of the mind, the observer of both body and mind. That is the basic person, that is Sakshi. Many words are there. Purnoham. There's a very nice Swamiji used to use from Brahma Jnana Valli text, also by Adi Shankaracharya, for meditation, for Nididhyasanam, contemplation. And the first verse there is asangoham, 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 punah punaha, Satchidanandarupoham, ahamevahamavyayah. Even that one verse you can take for Nididhyasanam, beautiful verse. Asangaha, asangoham, asangaha, aham becomes asangoham. Purnoham, purnaha, aham becomes purnoham. What does it mean, asangaha? Uninvolved. I am uninvolved. See, a relationship is always there, can only be there with two things of the same reality, right? See, two things of this. Can light have a relationship with this table? Light is a different order of reality, right? Light is imperceptible, formless truth. I'm just using an example. More than light, let's use space. Can space have a relationship with anything here? We're in space, right? We're in space pervades me, space pervades all the objects. We are in space, space is in us. There is no relationship connection possible because it is all pervasive. In the same way, Atma, there can be no relationship between Atma and anything else. It lends existence to everything. So asangaha aham, asangoham means Atma is uninvolved with everything. Space, like space, does not get disturbed by any of the activities that take place within space. So many things can happen within space, but space remains uninvolved in all those activities. Space remains untouched. It is not detached, but it is uninvolved. That is the meaning of asangaha aham. Pot. See, if you have lots of pots in space, because usually that is the example the rishis loved. They had a lot of clay pots. See, pots, lot of pots, space pervades all the pots. Whatever happens to the pot, can it touch the space? If the pot cracks, can space say, I'm cracked? No, but that's what we're doing. If my reality is Atma, likes that space, all pervasive, how can I take the limitations of body, mind, senses to be I? This is what I have to see. I cannot be touched by what happens to the body, mind, senses. Yet we do. That is unholy alliance. That is an unholy alliance because there can be no relationship between me and what I am not. So I am not this body, mind, sense complex. At the same time, I pervade the body, mind, sense complex as the formless Purnatma. So here, we have to, this is the way we do Nididhyasanam, to take a word like this, examine it. You can take even a gold bangle. Suppose a gold bangle, sometimes, especially Indian housewives, bashing, banging it here, banging it there, doing washing, well, if Indian housewives work. So, but suppose you have a gold bangle and then dents, it gets dented. Then can you say, can the gold feel sad that I'm dented? Gold is untouched. It's only the name and form bangle, right? How can the dents in the bangle affect gold? Gold is always there. So, in the same way, the dents of our mind and body cannot affect Atma. They're not able to. Asangaha, because Atma is asangaha. It is uninvolved. And we have this experience on a daily basis, but we're not able to see it. We're not able to analyze it. This Nididhyasanam will help you analyze where we have this experience. In deep sleep state, I have the experience of being asangaha. I am untouched by anything in deep sleep state, yet I exist. I exist as awareness because when I wake up, I'm able to explain or describe my deep sleep state to people. How? Because there is a vritti there, very slight vritti that is born when you wake up, and the eye connects to that vritti. That is a smriti. It remembers in deep sleep state, I was the one lighting up the deep sleep state. I could tell whether the body slept well, body did not sleep well, because in the morning when my spouse asked me, oh, I did not sleep well at all, I can tell, because you are all knowledge there, your pure awareness. So you're asangaha, you are unconnected in the uninvolved in the deep sleep state, but you light up all the states. That lighting up all the states of experience is called what we call turiya, the fourth state. There is no fourth state. It is the Atma, Purnatma, that lights up all the three states of experience. So here in the deep sleep state, what do I discover? That everything I was so attached to, so bound by in the waking state, what happens? When I enter the deep sleep state, usually I enter quite happily, because when we're sleepy, we enter very happily. I'm willing to leave behind all my children, my spouse, my properties, everything in the waking state, and I'm not bothered. In deep sleep, where is the attachment? Where is any of the connection? I'm quite happily ready to go into deep sleep state, severing all the connections and forgetting all the problems of waking state. So I willingly drop to go into deep sleep state. Anything can happen to them during the time I'm asleep, right? But I'm uninvolved. Uninvolved. That is called Atma, just uninvolved. Asangaha, asangoham. Uninvolved means that even mentally an object doesn't remain with me. If it comes into my awareness, and in the waking state, if it comes into my awareness, I may have to do some action. That is fine, but I'm acting out of knowledge. I'm not acting out of ignorance. This is the difference. So, Sangaha we always have in the waking state. But you can see there is a time in our lives, every day we experience asangoham, asangaha, I'm unconnected. And I'm so averse to coming out of deep sleep state as well. Because, if you're really, really attached to people, you would want to jump up. Oh, I have to get up. My children are there. This one's there. My family is there. Everybody is there. But when somebody wakes us up from deep sleep state, what happens? We don't want to get up because Ananda Swarupa, in that state, I'm in Ananda, unconnected with everything and everyone. So this is things that we have to see in the Nididhyasanam and understand Purnatma is the nature of asangaha. It is uninvolved, unconnected. And this type of Nididhyasanam, we can call it Jnana Abhyasa or Brahma Abhyasa, this continuous Nididhyasanam, continuous, after having done Shravanam Mananam. So you recognize more and more, and you come to a state where you close your eyes or you open your eyes, the truth is known to you. That is the state we're coming to. First of all, we have to close our eyes to recognize that. Then there comes a point where open-eyed or closed-eyed, I can do meditation. I don't need to close my eyes and sit. Open eyes, I see Satyam, that's real for me. Everything is dependent reality. I can open my eyes, and it's, there is a very interesting thing. Swamiji used to have on his wall in Anekati. I don't know whether it's still there. It is called a stereogram. So it's like a 2D picture. It looks like a lot of blotches, a lot of different colors and, some weird patterns and everything, different color. And if you concentrate on one point on that picture, what happens, if you can really focus, whole 3D image comes into play. You can't believe you see that. So in Swamiji's kutyar, when we used to go there, everybody used to try, Swamiji used to say, try this. So some people could not do it because you have to have focus on one point. Suddenly you could see Statue of Liberty. You could see whole New York skyline in that picture. It's called a stereogram. You go and see if you can do that. This is exactly what happens in the Jagat. This is what the next thing he's going to say is that it is like that. You look at one thing, what happens? Suddenly Satyam becomes alive for you. It's all hidden there, but on the surface, it looks like name, form, function. But what is there is only Atma, only Satyam, only Brahman. So this is the practice we do. I discover myself to be the Swarupa of consciousness. My nature is consciousness, which is Purnaha, complete. It is Asangaha, uninvolved, taking any word. It is Satchit Ananda, which is another Lakshana Vakya for Atma. Sat is that which Kalatrayepi Tishtati iti Sat, the one that is in all three periods of time. So I am without birth. Atma does not have birth. What has birth? It is only body, mind, senses that has birth. Atma does not have death. It is only this body, mind, senses that has what we call death. Seeing this, that I am timeless reality. Bhagavan says in the Bhagavad Gita, Natve Vaham Jatu Nasam, Natvam Ne Me Janadipaha, Nacheva Nabhavishyamaha, Sarve Vayamatah Param. He says, there was never a time I did not exist, nor you or all these kings, O Arjuna, nor will any of us cease to exist in the future. So this is what I have to see. I am free from birth. I am free from death. I am free from all the Shat-vikaras, the sixfold modifications which happen to the physical body, but not to me. This is what is called abiding in one's own self. This chit is what shines through my intellect. Consciousness manifests through my intellect as chit, sat chit ananda, satyam jnanam anantam, similar words. All knowledge consciousness shines through my intellect, lighting up this whole world. Because knowledge takes place where? It takes place in the intellect alone. And both are limitless because it's not just in my body. That's why the Ananda is added there, Ananta is added there. Ananta, limitlessness, is nothing but Ananda, limitless joy, limitless happiness. So it is like the light. I discover myself with this Nididhyasana process to be the light that illumines all the objects, all the transactions that happen within light, and I'm uninvolved, untouched by everything. And that is what is called Ananda, limitlessness. So it's a very beautiful meditation we take here. And then next he says, Jagadidam tat baditam drishyatam. May this entire Jagat be seen as badita. This Jagat, as I said, is also negated. It is negated cognitively. This Jagat is also negated. We call it sublated. There's a word in English, sublating the world. It is removing the reality in my intellect added to the world. It is the reality that I have given to the world. Right now, what reality do I give to the world? The Jagat is Satyam for me, right? Jagat is Satyam. So it is Ulta reality. Here, Shastra is saying Jagat is Mithya. It is dependent reality. You are Satyam. That dependent reality is dependent on you. That pure, limitless consciousness. But you take that dependent reality to be independent reality. You take it to be Satyam. And that's where all our problems in life are based. Everything is based on that vision of taking all the names and forms and functions as the reality. So this is where he says, you negate this Jagat in your mind. Negate the wave mentally when you see the water. You see the wave, we don't deny your perception of the wave, but knowledge of water means what? Wave is negated in knowledge of water. All waves are nothing but water. All gold ornaments are nothing but gold. So this, as I said, the whole Jagat, these images are very good practice. You can see that. You think this is only, you can't see anything in that picture. It just looks like some big blobs of color. You focus on one point, suddenly a 3D image, a whole new Jagat appears in that one picture. Very intent, I mean, it's brilliantly done. I don't know how they do it, but it's amazing how this whole world also is like virtual reality. In fact, if you tried virtual reality, I don't know now a lot of in the West it's coming up a lot. In fact, to help people with mental health problems, it's helping a lot because you live in a different reality there. Some people get confused. Now they have tried. I tried. Somebody gave me an experience once. It was they said they brought their head things, and it's really interesting because when you put that on, it overlaps this reality with that reality. So when you put it on, you can see this room very clearly. But in this room, you see all different objects, different light. And so sometimes it's interesting. Our experience is what? Based on our sense perception, actually. It is not that real. I think it is because it has a way of fooling the mind. So when I see objects in this reality, also, I think this reality is so real. And when I see some, maybe we call it miracles in Vidya, I see some miracles happening here and there. I think, wow, it is, how does it happen? In fact, this whole thing is a miracle. This whole thing is the biggest projection that you can see, biggest projection of this universe. It is the virtual real world that we live in. So sometimes virtual reality makes you understand the type of reality we are experiencing. Because in the virtually real world, so there, it takes you on an edge of cliff, things like that, in virtually. So you're actually walking and you feel the heartbeat, you feel the same experience as when you would live in the real world. How do you explain it? It is only my senses affecting my mind. Same here, it is only my perception of the world affecting my mind. It is not that real. So when I understand that this is not as real as I think it is, then here Adi Shankara says, Jagaditam tat baditam drishyatam. I see the world, the reality is negated. Not the world is negated, the reality attributed to the world, which I attributed before, the reality that it is Satyam, it is negated as Mithya. It is a dependent reality. I don't have to destroy the world to understand it. I see that the world is non-separate from Brahman. It is non-separate from that one consciousness. Then he says, Pra-karma pravilapyatam. So now the reality is seen after this all this sadhana and this nididhyasanam I do. Adi Shankara says, may the previously accumulated karma, pra-karma, pravilapyata, may the previous accumulated karma, may it all be dissolved, may it be destroyed. So pra-karma here means sanchita karma. Sanchita karmas, they're fully gathered from all previous lifetimes. We have gathered that karma. and it is like fixed deposit in my bank account somewhere, and it fructifies every lifetime I have. It fructifies in the form of prarabdha karma. He's saying now, may all of that be destroyed. How can that be destroyed? When I recognize now that I am all the all pervasive truth, the adhisthana, the basis for this projection, then where is doership? Did I ever do any action? No. If as long as I identified with the role in the drama, I identified with doership. I identified with enjoyership, experiencership. Aham karta, aham bhokta. That was my identification. And because of that identification, what happened? I had to expend the karma phalam. All of this fruits of action incurred to me. I am the one who goes to see the astrologer to ward off papa karma, to gain more punya, because of the sense of doership. All because I think I am the experiencer of the results of action. And that is why this is called samsara. By doing more action in samsara, you cannot get out of action. So here, the only way to destroy all action, he says, may it be destroyed how? By negating also the doership. So as I've negated the reality given to the world, I negate the reality given to the I. What is this I? The I, aham karta, is not the real you. It is imposter you. That aham karta, aham bhokta is seen as false. The moment it is recognized as false, what happens? No karma. Where is karma? It's all burnt. Krishna says in the Gita, it's burnt to ashes in one shot. Burnt to ashes means you recognize it never existed for you in the first place. Karma never exists for us in the first place. It only exists when identification with aham karta, two thoughts. I am the doer, I am the experiencer of action. Two thoughts that keep my life going, keep me in activity. Once I understand, then here there's a nice, very, very beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita again. Bhagavan says, Neva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavid Pashyan srinvan sprishan chigran ashnan gachan swapan swashan pralaban visrijan grinnan unmishan nimishan napi indriyani indriyarteshu vartanta iti dharayan. So he says here, Naiva kinchit karomiti, I don't do anything. I don't do anything. This is what the tattva the realized, self-realized people discover. The gnani discovers what? Passion. Even when seeing, I don't do anything. Shravan, Shrinvan, even when hearing, I don't do anything. So seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, and eating, seeing all these un actions, so ing in English, doing all these actions, what does he discover? I don't do anything. Naiva kinchit karomiti. I do nothing. I am simply lighting up all activities. As Purnatma, I light up the activities of the body, mind, senses. Even my own body, mind, senses, whatever actions, I am the one lighting up those actions. So here he says all karma is destroyed, and agami karma, the karma that the body after jnanam, the self-realized, self-discovered person continues to do action. Then what happens to that karma? Because he looks like from outside he's doing action. So that agami karma, it doesn't have any account to get credited because all the karmic account has been destroyed. Body, mind, senses is doing the action. So it doesn't have anywhere to go. So the scriptures say that those who praise the jnani, they will receive the punya done by his body, mind, sense complex. Those who blame the jnani, criticize a jnani, they will get the papa that inadvertently, whatever papa, because we can't avoid papa totally. Inadvertently, some papa may come there. Whatever papa he does, the body, mind, senses does, they get that papa. So you praise, you get the punya that body, mind, sense complex does. Blame, you get the papa just to praise the glory of Jnani as well. So Agami karma also doesn't accrue to him because no doership. Agami karma is what manifests for future, what you're doing now. But there's no one to claim it because he's discovered aham akarta, aham abhokta. He is free, like the light discovers. If the light is identified with somebody in this room, it will go through all the karma, everything. Suddenly, the vision shifts to light. What happens? Oh, I never did any karma in the first place. Where was activity? It happened within me. It happened because of me. I lit up all the activities. So, Ajnani's actions after Jnanam will always be for Loka Sangraha. Loka Sangraha. It will be for the benefit of society. Then he says, Prarabdam Tviha Pujyatam. May you enjoy the prarabdha karma in this body, in this world. So after discovery, what happens? Sanchita is destroyed, but prarabdha is still going on because it is like mukta ishuhu. It is a released arrow. So when the jiva is born, prarabdha karma has already been released. Until it hits the target, it has to go. So Ajnani will not drop his body. He will continue whatever prarabdha drives his body, mind, senses. He will continue that prarabdha. It could be to build a lot of institutions to help society. It could be that he sits alone in the cave and meditates. There is different ways of experiencing prarabdha, but it doesn't matter for the jnani because he is discovered himself to be Purnam, Asangaha. So it doesn't matter. He can be anywhere. He can be doing or not doing. There's no pressure. But this prarabdha continues until the body falls off. So he's saying here, after jnanam, may you enjoy the prarabdha karma in this body. Enjoy means what comes to me, I am happy. What leaves me, I am happy. This is how we enjoy the prarabdha because prarabdha only gets exhausted in Tattva Bodha. It said there, Bhogena nashtam bhavati. Through through experience alone, the prarabdha gets exhausted. So the gnani has to go exhaust the prarabdha through experience. And Adi Shankaracharya says here, may you enjoy those experiences. Of course, after jnanam, you cannot but enjoy experiences because you recognize it is mithya, it can't touch you. So whatever body goes through, like you see, great jnanis, Ramana Maharishi, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, they all had, like throat cancer, all of this, but nothing touched them because by that time also already jnani, but waiting to exhaust prarabdha. Just prarabdha had to be exhausted. So this is the key here. Your prarabdha exhaustion doesn't mean your life will become all sukha all the time. It means that you will discover yourself to be the basis of sukha and dukkha. So you're not affected by the pairs of opposites. So prarabdam tviha bhujyatam. And finally, what happens? So finally, he says, parabrahmatmana stiyatam. Parabrahmatmana stiyatam means that after the fall of this body, may you abide as Brahman, the limitless. May you be Ishvara for the whole world. You become one with Ishvara because after the fall of the body, what happens? That Sukshma Sharira, which comes back into another body, is no longer there. How is Sukshma Sharira perpetuated? It is perpetuated by the thought Aham Karta, Aham Bhokta. So when the jiva dies off with that thought, the sukshma travels and it takes on another body according to its karma. So we don't know where it is going to be born, which womb it is going to enter into. That is Bhagwan's choice. It is karma paladana. It could be anywhere in the Jagat. It could be under any circumstances. But here he says, after Jnanam, when the body falls off, it's called Videha Mukti. So you discover here, Jivan Mukti first, freedom while alive. So while alive, you're free, you're untouched, asangaha, purnaha. And when the body drops off, like all bodies will have to drop off one day or other, then you discover Videha Mukti. You are one with the universe. Sukshma Shariram resolves. You are Ishvara for the world. You become Ishvara for the Jagat. So with this, our Sadhana Panchakam, we eventually completed it. I'm going to just give a short summary of all the steps so you can, contemplate on it and see how it develops as well. So if you see from the first verse to the fifth, in the first verse, the 1 to 5 steps are talking about the performance of karmas and karma yoga. So you have to study the Vedas daily. Vedo nityamadhiyatam taduvidam karma swanushthiyatam. Perform your duties diligently. You dedicate all those actions to Ishvara. You offer these actions as worship to Bhagavan. Then, bhavasukhe dosho no sandhiyatam. You see the limitations of this happiness, sukha, this bhava sukha. See the limitations of this bhava sukha, what is happening in the world, this sukha in the samsara. And then atmecha vyavasiyatam. So now from this step till the end of this verse, it's talking about development of dispassion. He's talking about developing dispassion. So he talks about karma first, then he talks about in this verse developing dispassion, vairagya. So recognize that the pleasures of the sense objects are all limited. They're all limited pleasure. This one always comes at this time. So beautiful. Every day I see comes. We have a nice peacock here, just outside the door. Always blesses the class coming here. And at this time. And so this Bhava Sukha is all limited. So he says, seek the self with consistency. Atmecha vyavasiyatam. You committed to this seeking of the self. And nijagrihat turnam vinirgamyatam. Escape this bondage of house and home. Escape the bondage meaning mentally withdraw. We saw that reduce the sense of mindness, reduce the sense of dependency in the house and home. So this is in the first verse, all the steps. Then in the second verse, he talks about cultivating the 9th to 11th steps. He talks about cultivating conducive attitudes. So we see the first attitude here, seek the company of the good, satsanga, of people committed to the pursuit. Seek that company. Then sanga satsu vidhiyata. The next step, bhagavato bhakti tridadiyatam. Be established firmly in devotion to Bhagavan. Bhagavato Drida Bhakti Dhiyatam. So be established firmly in devotion and Shantya Parichiyatam. So collect Parichiyatam, all the qualifications that are necessary for this pursuit. You collect means you have to work on yourself, not just reading about it. It requires active effort, shama, dhamma, all to collect, to actually practice. So cultivating these conducive attitudes, conducive state of mind for this jnanam. Then Dridataram karmashu santyajyatam. This step is talking about becoming a karma yogi, karma phala tyaga. Karma phala tyaga is your all karmasu santyajyatam. So all these, you're giving up all the karmas slowly, you're reducing, you're doing more nitya naimittika karmas, reducing all the other types of karmas and taking more to, how do you say, this lifestyle of actually reducing all karmas, even karmic karmas, all of these karmas you're reducing. Then the next 13th to 15th step, you're thinking of life with the Guru. So what do you do next? Sat vidvan upasripyatam pratidinam tat paduka sevyatam. You are now approaching a Satvidvan, a person who is well versed in the scriptures, who is Brahmanishta as well. So Satvidvan upasripyatam and Pratidinam Tat Paduka Sevyatam. So as Bharata did for Lord Rama, you can see Padukas become very important even in our itihasas. The Padukas represented Lord Rama for all those years he was in the forest. So here, so serve the Guru, serve the Padukas of the Guru, do what you can. And then, so 8, we have how many? 8, 15. Then we have, yes, Brahme Kaksharam Artyatam. So you have to ask for this knowledge. Artyatam, it is not just going to be given. Even if you approach a Guru, it is not enough. This knowledge of Brahman, this Akshara Brahman has to be requested. It has to be asked for. And whatever is being told after having asked, listen well. So we know now, Shravanam without multitasking. Do that well. Shravanam, punah punaha Shravanam kuryat. Do the Shravanam well. And now you're in now in Jnana Yoga. You have entered into the Jnana Yoga after living, so it's Kramena. So 2 lifestyles that Bhagavan prescribes in the Bhagavad Gita, which is Lokesmin Vivida Nishta Pura Prokta Mayanaga Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam. So now you have moved from Karma Yoga, you are now entering Jnana Yoga. It is Kramena. So you have moved naturally, and then now reflect Vakyartascha Vicharyatam. Reflect upon the meaning of the Upanishad statements, of the Vakyas in the Upanishad, Mahavakyas, and take Shruti Shiraf Pakshas Samashriyatam. Take refuge in this truth of Brahman. Take refuge in what Shruti talks about Brahman. Then, Brahme Vasmi Vibhavyatam. Keep seeing that Aham Brahmasmi. Let it shine more and more in your mind. So we're still in Jnana Yoga here. The next step, Dustarkat Suvi Ramyatam. I'm doing Mananam now, and all these wrong logic, wrong arguments I avoid. I don't get into these wrong arguments. I'm able to see the fallacies in the thinking of all other darshanas. Shruti matas tarko nusanthiyatam. I take to what Shruti says. The logic unfolded by Shruti, I take to that. And Brahme Vasmi Vibhavyatam. I'm absorbed, always be absorbed, always in the attitude that I am Brahman. So this is, again, he's in this verse, he's bringing in Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasnam, introducing Jnana Yoga actually in the 3rd verse. As I said, he suddenly flips to the lifestyles conducive for this knowledge again in the 4th verse. So in this verse, he's just introducing this Jnana Yoga. Ahar ahar garva parityajyatam. Give up. The next step, he says, give up that notion, I am this body. So give up this notion, I am this physical body, I am this mind as well. Give up this notion. And finally, he says, give up totally the tendency to argue with people who are wise. Don't find argument with them. Don't find fault with them. So now he has introduced Jnana Yoga in the 4th verse, 24 to 23 steps. Steps 24 to 33, he introduces again lifestyle attitudes for spiritual seeker. Lifestyle attitudes. What are these? What is the first one? So, disease is, hunger is a disease. Get it treated, he says. Get it treated with daily medicine of viksha, aushadam, of medicine of food. Get treated the disease of hunger with the medicine of food. Don't ask for delicious food. Whatever comes to you, take it. Don't ask for delicious food. He says, then live contentedly. Have this feeling of contentment, not just with the food that comes to you. We saw with everything in life, whatever you've got, feel content with it. There's so many things you don't have. Don't look there. Look at what you have been given. Feel content. And then he says, this Shitoshnadi Vishakyatam. Endure the pairs of opposites, because life is all about pairs of opposites. Go through it, endure these pairs of opposites, and reduce your likes and dislikes. Don't say, I want this to happen, I don't want this to happen. Reduce again likes and dislikes, and avoid wrong, meaningless talking. Meaningless spending time gossiping, talking. It says avoid this. Nadu vrita vakyam samucharyatam. And audasinamabhipsyatam janakripa naishtaryamutsrijyatam. Be neutral, don't take sides in anything. People always want you to be on their side, this side, that side. You be, as a Vedanta person, you be objective. You're on all sides, you see all views. Where there is action to be taken, you take action. So it requires tremendous discriminative capacity just to see. Audasinium. So I'm like Switzerland, neutral. And Janakripa Naishtoryamutsrijatam, the last lifestyle attitude he gives is, don't bother what anybody says about you. If they praise you, fine. If they blame you, criticize you, fine. And let their opinion be their opinion. You should not go down with other people's opinions of you. So that is also important as a lifestyle, again, as a lifestyle choice. Then from the last verse, 34 to 40, the steps, he talks about the goals of Nididhyasanam. What is Nididhyasanam? First of all, living happily in solitude. So the first one, ekante sukamasyata, means living happily, being by yourself, so that you can quieten your mind and focus on Brahman. Paratare chetas samadhiyata. Focus that mind on Brahman, because you don't have all the roles have dropped off, everything has dropped off. You are connecting with the one truth. Then Purnatma Susamikshyatam. See first that Brahman is all pervasive in this universe, and see that Brahman as the Purnatma, which is the reality of yourself. This Brahman is a reality of yourself, which is fullness. And when you recognize that reality of the universe is the reality of myself, Jagadidam tat bhaditam drishyata, whole of this universe becomes badita. It is a dependent, it is seen as dependent reality. It is not seen as real as I thought it was. Now, I don't have many problems with the Jagat. Why? I don't have any problem with the Jagat, because it is a virtual reality world. It cannot affect me. So it is not, I don't have any problem with it. Then prakarma pravilapyatam. Prakarma pravilapyatam means that let us become, may you become untouched by future karmas. So now, may you become untouched by future karmas. Discover yourself to be a karta, a bhokta. That is the only way. I am untouched by future karmas. And chitibala napyuttare slishyatam. So let me become detached from future karmas and not let anything affect us. Enjoy the prarabdham tviha pujyatam. Prarabdham means what is to be exhausted in this life. Enjoy whatever comes to you, enjoy it. Let it be exhausted. And finally, parabrahmatmanastiyatam. Get, when you leave the body, you are Ishvara for the world. You become Ishvara, you're one with Ishvara. When you leave this body, you Don't come back ever again because you're one with the universe. So these are the sadhanas that are told by Adi Shankaracharya in 5 short verses, which may take even 500 years. But who knows? Like if we can do a few of them, if we can follow a few of them, then definitely this knowledge has a way of blessing us in the life. This knowledge has a way of translating into this transactional reality, because that is what we really want. We want transformation where, in our transactional reality, we come for freedom. We come to Vedanta for freedom from what? Freedom from the ups and downs of transactional reality. In fact, we don't know Brahman or anything before we start Vedanta. We're not clear. What people come to Vedanta for mainly is freedom from sorrow and the promise of Ananda. We love that. Freedom, two things. We want Sukha Prapti, Dukkha Nivritti. That is what everybody comes for. Then suddenly you find yourself exposed to Upanishad knowledge, which talks about Brahman, Atma. Then you have to see the connection. Knowing Brahman and Atma, what has it got to do with my happiness? Then the scriptures unfold that discovery of this reality alone will give you what you want in your life. There is no other way. There is no other short route, no other easy cure for this problem of samsara. It is understanding that everything that you have been attaching your reality to, everything you have been taking as satyam is actually not as satyam as you see it. It is mithya. That's why the whole of Vedanta is in 2 words, satyam and mithya. When we understand the whole jagat, including body, mind, senses, is mithya, then we understand what satyam is. And that is where the real knowledge is. That is where sukha prapti, dukkha nivritti happens permanently. There's no sukham or dukkham in Atma. So with that, I hope you've all enjoyed this few days here in this beautiful environment with wonderful food. And sorry, online we could not share any of this environment with you, but maybe next time you can come and experience for yourselves. But it's a very beautiful place to do, to study texts and also to do nididhyasanam. So you can spend time here, contemplating. The whole atmosphere is conducive for that. And Pujya Swamiji's presence is very much here in the meditation center and all these places. He has not seen this place where we're taking the classes, but the whole of Manjakkudi is Swamiji's, and many, many places he has been. Hopefully, we can even set up a tour of all the things that Swamiji has done in Manjakkudi. That would be nice for people. So, very nice that you could all join online, and we will meet again. Hari Om. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. Sarve Santu Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Asato ma sadgamaya. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidah Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namah. Hari Om.